Hi, I'm Matt. I'm the Product Marketing Manager for Confluence, and you're watching Seibert Media.
Hi, my name is Kiehl, and I'm a Dev Manager on the Confluence team, and you're watching Seibert Media.
Hi there. Where are we?
We're at Atlassian Summit 2013.
And who are you?
I'm Kiehl.
And you are?
Matt Hodges.
And you're Confluence gurus. That's at least what it says on the background of your shirts, right?
Yeah.
And actually, for you, we didn't meet each other beforehand, but we did. And I know you are a Confluence guru, and you told me he is. So I have a couple of questions for you about your new product, Confluence Questions. Mm-hmm. What is it?
Confluence Questions is a product that's built on top of the Confluence platform that makes it really easy for you to extract the tribal knowledge from your organization that already exists, keep that knowledge and retain it so when the people leave, it still exists, and then also for you to identify experts throughout your organization that you might not know. So people that are experts in a particular topic, you can find them very easily using Confluence Questions.
Chris, isn't that the story that Confluence is selling already?
That's a very good question. I think with Confluence Questions, we actually tried to solve the other side of the story. If you think about it, with Confluence itself, it's rather push model, right? You know something, you put it on the wiki and other people can consume it, right? You're just pushing knowledge out. But what if you have a question, right? How do you ask somebody and actually try to extract that knowledge from people? And that's what Confluence Questions is for, right? So if you want to ask somebody something and you don't know who the expert is in the company, you just put it into Confluence Questions, and then those people, those experts in the companies can jump on and answer your questions. So basically we're reversing the model, right? So you can actually pull the information from people. And just to give you an example, right? For example, how often have somebody's asked you a question and you thought, oh, I thought everybody knows that, right? That's the kind of knowledge that we try to extract with Confluence Questions, right? Because people don't put it onto the wiki by themselves.
Yeah, and if I'm the first one to ask a question, that's fine, and then afterwards it's stored there with the answers.
Exactly.
And it's very simple, it's low friction, it's very easy to ask a question and contribute an answer as well.
So let me tell you about the sales pitch that I heard of Yammer. You both know Yammer, right? It's a microblogging software. Yeah, I don't know. I think they got acquired and they were kind of ditched sometime.
Some other big company.
However, what they said is, look, what we do is we add kind of a social layer to all your legacy systems so that people can ask something and kind of have a social search. Yeah. Like it's not a search engine that'll pop up with results, but it's kind of people who pop up with their kind of answers. Isn't that what you're doing here?
The biggest difference between us and Yammer is that Confluence has structure. Frequently when I talk to people who use Yammer, they quite often use it alongside of Confluence because Confluence has the structure that they need. They want spaces, they want ability to organize things into a hierarchy, and that's what Confluence gives them. Now, the difference between Confluence and Yammer is that stuff doesn't get lost in the stream. You post something in Yammer, eventually it gets lost in the stream and it's hard to find again. With Confluence, because of that structure, it's really easy to go to one place and find the information that you need.
Yeah, awesome. Now we have also a product comparison, but isn't that social search, Confluence Questions? Isn't that like a search engine for with the help of people?
Yeah, it's definitely putting a little bit of a social aspect onto Confluence, but we're not just trying to ride on the hype of social, but we're actually trying to pick the useful things. For example, the expert search that you find in Confluence, right? That's where we leverage the people within the system, right? So Confluence Questions is actually not only about the content, right? It's also about the people that answer those questions, because naturally those people rise to experts within their topics, and that really makes the people aspect in the company work.
Yeah. Awesome. Within these topics, you also have abilities to change that, right? You see the experts, and then you can add additional content on these pages and so on.
Mm-hmm. We're leveraging all of the things that make the Confluence platform so powerful. So labels of topics. You've got the full power of the editor to ask really rich questions and get really rich answers. And then we're making use of all of the social features like mentions and the ability to share. So you can share a question with someone if you don't know the answer, but you know someone else in the organization can. You can pull them in to that question and have them answer it.
Awesome. You have been using similar software systems that are not connected to the Confluence platform yet externally quite successfully already. And now, actually, I'm pretty excited about Confluence Questions because I think it's filling something that wasn't there before for our customers. At the same time, I feel a bit sorry for this open source software, for Quora, for all the other platforms that you kind of the enterprise doesn't need anymore because you're doing that in Confluence now. Are you just a copycat here?
No, I don't think so at all, right? We're just trying to extract the best things. I mean, obviously those platforms, I think they kind of brought those concepts to the people. But I think people don't want to post their questions on Stack Overflow. They don't want to post them on Quora, right? And as you said, there's other, for example, open source solutions that are out there. But what we heard when we talked to people is that they want much tighter integration, so they actually want it within Confluence, right? Confluence is already their knowledge hub, so they don't want another system somewhere where they have to go to, so they have two places again to search for knowledge, right? They want really tight integration, and that's what Confluence provides. Also, like, thing about actually getting people to learn how the product works. For example, Confluence Questions, we use the editor that people are already familiar from within Confluence, so it should be a really easy transition for people to start getting used to Confluence Questions, and that's what people are really looking for.
Confluence Question is an add-on, right? I can't use Confluence Questions without having Confluence.
I could answer that, but I'm going to let this guy answer it because he's probably not going to be happy with my answer.
Okay. Well, one thing we're definitely looking at is to have a standalone version of Confluence Questions as well, because we know people might not want Confluence Questions, might not want questions necessarily, right? So they can just get started with Confluence Questions, or they can even run them like next to each other, right? They can have like a questions instance and a Confluence instance, if that's what they prefer.
No, and your answer also.
I would say that our end goal is to have a standalone version of Confluence Questions because we believe that it's a tool that's useful for people that aren't already using Confluence as we know it today. So our goal is to have people to be able to use questions and then add it to what they might already be using. Or if you're using Confluence now, install a plugin and add questions to that experience. So our goal is to have the two standalone but work very well together and integrated.
Yeah, so to be the kind of devil's advocate, I could say you just raised pricing for Confluence like significantly probably a year ago, and then this grandfathering will end also not that soon, but soon. And back then you said, yeah, well, now you have these enterprise tiers, and these enterprise tiers will be filled with a lot of enterprise features. And isn't that just one enterprise feature that should be just thrown into Confluence and be part of that for no charge?
I would ask you what you would define as enterprise.
It's quite difficult for me to answer this question because in a lot of situations I'm on your spot, so I could give you an answer that I would give to a customer, but that's not part of the interview, right? So let's do the following. You start first, and then I give you the answer that I would give.
Okay.
So shouldn't that be for free, part of Confluence?
First of all, to answer your question, even though we have raised our prices, Confluence is still an extremely good bargain. We are so much cheaper than everyone else in the market, and you get extreme value out of the price that you pay for Confluence, even at what it is priced today. And I think the great thing about us is we have an opt-in model. Not everyone wants team calendars. We make it opt-in. If you want it, you can buy it. Not everyone wants Confluence Questions. If you want it, you can buy it. You can add it onto Confluence. And still, the value you get out of those two tools is significantly greater than something you would get from a larger enterprise vendor who is charging you through the roof for their products.
Yeah, so my answer would be probably, if a customer would have asked me the same question, I would probably say, look, same as you, like Confluence isn't expensive, you can buy it, and you want Atlassian to maintain these things. You want this is like the first version that they come out with, so there will be a lot of things that needs added, and if it's a standalone product and it gets its own kind of funds through turnover, you'll have a way more faster development cycle.
I mean, you've seen it with Team Calendars. We had 12 releases of Team Calendars in its first year. It has its own development team. It's got its own product manager, Sharif Mansour, over the year. And we are continuing to invest and improve on that add-on. So with Confluence Questions, that investment is only going to be greater.
Is everyone who's using Confluence should be looking at Confluence Questions right now?
I think like from a certain size on, right? And also, I think we haven't quite figured out what the number of users that you need to get such a community up and going. But I think, for example, for distributed teams, that number will probably be lower. For people that sit together, maybe not as low. But generally, as I explained it, we really see it as a complement, right? We got the push model and the pull model. So really, I think every customer should have it, right? Because it really allows you to capture the whole area of knowledge management.
No matter how small you are, you're still going to have people that are going to leave the organization and take the knowledge that they have in their brains with them. So you want to capture that knowledge so that when new people come in, they can learn from the people that were there a year ago or 6 months ago.
So give me numbers. Any number that you think is worthwhile. You said, and I fully agree. If we had 2 people like you and me in a company, we probably wouldn't be using Confluence Questions a lot. I would just shoot you an email and then you would say, hey, Martin, remember that, I told you already. And so 2 is probably not the number I'm going for. So which number is, would you say, if you are about that, you should definitely look at Confluence Questions.
It's hard to say. As I said, it really depends on your team structure, how you set up, right?
He's a developer, right? Like you're asking a number of questions and then...
No, it just really depends on how your team's set up. Like
Yeah.
if you have like 10 people and they're all distributed, they're all in different parts of the world, I would say 10 people use Confluence Questions, right?
Okay.
If you all sit together, I don't know, you run an open plan offers, maybe you need 100 people, I don't know, right? It's like,
What are your
it's a
numbers?
wide range.
My numbers is any number, right? As I just said, like the value you get from Confluence Questions is that you take the knowledge that you might be sharing. You and me right now, I could share some knowledge with you, but if you move on, it's lost. So no matter how many people you have in your organization, you want to capture that knowledge.
What's the one thing, the one feature that you couldn't build and bring it into 1.0 that you really want to have in there?
That's a good question. I think a few things we want to play around with a bit more is like the gamification aspect. We have very basic gamification at the moment, and we think if you build that system right, that can be a major incentive for people to actually participate in the Confluence Questions system. The other thing that we really still have to figure out a bit better is the bootstrapping process, because basically when you download Confluence Question and install it, you have a bit of a chicken egg problem, right? There's no content in there. How do you get started, right? I mean, you can start seeding it, but I think we can do better than just like initially put a few questions in there. We really want to make sure that once you install it, you become successful with it.
What's your feature? That's taken already.
I think the guys have done a great job of putting a great set of features in for the MVP, and for something that we've shipped in beta is greater than an MVP. The biggest feature that I would like is integration with other tools that people are already using to ask questions. HipChat, they're already using email. So I think we need to do a better job of making it very, very easy for people to pull the questions that are being asked in other systems into Confluence Questions. And once you do it once, people learn that's the place to go and ask those questions instead of via email or instead of via HipChat.
Yeah, that sounds really awesome. Like, get me from HipChat into Confluence Questions. Please do that. I'm looking forward to that. Thanks for taking the time, Chris and Matt, and have a lot of success with Confluence Questions. I'm pretty sure that you will. Thanks.
Thanks, bud.
You're welcome.